Here at JoBlo, we got the need for speed. Yes, it was the Reagan era of action movies. Nothing says let's go better than an 80s action movie. Some claim it was the golden era of action cinema. One of the biggest all-American action movies to come out of that era was Top Gun, starring the immortal, death-defying wonder from Syracuse, New York, Tom Cruise. Directed by Tony Scott, Top Gun would go on to be one of the most iconic films of all time, launching Tom Cruise into A-list territory. Fast forward 30-something years later, we're hit with a global pandemic and so many movies were scrapped, postponed, or went straight to streaming. Luckily, one of the oldest movie studios on Earth, Paramount Pictures, made the right decision to release the sequel, Top Gun Maverick, into theaters at the right time, breaking records and making audiences love blockbuster cinema again. However, now that the movie has set box office alight and is now available to stream on Paramount Plus and available on 4K and Blu-ray, and that most of the world has seen both movies, to this day it begs the question, which Top Gun movie soars the highest? So grab your flight gear, your skin-tight jeans, your volleyball footballs, and your great balls of fire, and set the missiles to locked on for another face-off.
Disclaimer. No actual science was used to determine the outcome of Face-Off. Your results may vary. Please do not consume Face-Off if you are allergic to conjecture, opinion, or general nonsense.
Round 1, story.
In order for us to take flight, we have to break down the stories of this militaristic duology. The original hit, Top Gun, did not have the most complicated story, but would lay out the groundwork. As the story goes, after a really badass opening title that explains what the school of Top Gun is, we see our hero, Pete Mitchell, aka Maverick, and Nick Bradshaw, better known as Goose, flying by their base out in the Indian Ocean when unexpectedly an enemy hostile made the mistake of locking on to their jets. While their buddy Cougar was shaken up from this incident, he retires, thus opening a spot for Top Gun training for Maverick and Goose. And somewhere along the lines, Maverick develops a romantic thing for his hot teacher, and spoiler alert, during training, Goose dies. Then, when a crisis goes down with the enemy, it's up to Maverick and his classmate and rival, Iceman, to save the day. They succeed, and Maverick would go on to become a Top Gun instructor. Fast forward to 2022. All these years later, Maverick only stayed an instructor for 2 months and is now working as a test pilot for the US Navy. After a prototype jet is destroyed for flying Mach 10, Maverick is selected by an ailing Iceman, who is now a top commander in the Navy, to teach the next generation of Top Gun pilots in a nearly impossible mission to attack a uranium plant in enemy territory located in a steep canyon. And to add some tense drama, one of those young pilots is Goose's son, who goes by the call sign Rooster. And because this movie is still relatively new at the time of this face-off, you just need to see the insanity that goes down for yourselves, cause we ain't spoiling this one. Clearly, the story of these fantastic top flight movies are both incredible, but for this opening round, due to the outstanding execution, we're giving this round to the legacy sequel. Winner by a homing missile is Top Gun Maverick.
Round 2, action.
When you think of Top Gun, you think top action. Both of these fine pieces of cinema offer groundbreaking aerial action that keeps you on the edge of your seat no matter how many times you watch them. Director Tony Scott managed to capture the most jaw-dropping, high-speed military action that still stands out to this day. Whether if it's the opening scene with the upside-down middle finger or that thrilling finale where they rescue the SS Layton, the production, assisted by NASA and the US military, is just peak cinema. But as great as those are, due to technological advances in filming and Tom Cruise's sheer dedication on actually learning to fly a damn jet, the action in Top Gun Maverick is next level insanity. Everything from the mission training to the nerve-wracking finale in hostile territory, these damn aerial scenes are unbelievable. This round may be a little unfair, but the advances in film technology make Top Gun Maverick the superior action movie. Winner by the speed of Mach 10, Top Gun Maverick.
Round 3, young Maverick versus old Maverick.
For this round, we're going master versus student to see which character is the more appealing version of Maverick to root for. 1986, we're introduced to Maverick as a young pilot and student trying to ascend to the rank of a Navy Top Gun. Yeah, he's cocky, arrogant, and a bit reckless. We absolutely love his chemistry with his wingman Goose, but really relish those scenes where he's always shining on his rival, Iceman. And of course, there's the love story angle, but more on that later. But the main driving force of young Maverick's character is when he's faced with the challenge of losing his best friend and wingman Goose, which nearly made him quit his career as a pilot. After he does some soul-searching, Maverick seeks out the advice from Commander Viper on his struggles of losing his friend, who gives him the motivation to continue his career as well as swallowing his pride when Iceman wins the Top Gun trophy, which makes for a compelling story arc. Meanwhile, in Top Gun Maverick, we see our main protagonist at a much different point in his life and his career. He's still that arrogant pilot we all know and love, but this time we're seeing him teach instead of competing for rank. And just like the previous movie, Goose comes into play. Old Maverick is now faced with the challenge of teaching Goose's son Rooster, who obviously holds a grudge for what happened with his father, and on top of that, he doesn't want Rooster to lose his life like Goose did. He also doesn't want him to blame Maverick as well. And to add to this, Maverick is consistently dealing with his superior officers who don't like him, don't want him to teach Top Gun, and don't think he's right for the mission. The only one that has faith in him is his old rival, Iceman, but he can only do so much. This is how you make an awesome legacy sequel. So, for this round, we can see the appeal for both versions of Maverick, and we're gonna call it a draw.
Round 4, love interest.
It is time to take our breath away because a Top Gun movie isn't a Top Gun movie, with a little romance dashed in between all the high-flying action. So which of these movies has the better love interest? In Top Gun, we're introduced to the lovely Charlotte Blackwood, aka Charlie, who's an astrophysicist and a Top Gun instructor. All right, we get it. I'm sure at some point in your life you all fantasized about one of your teachers. Don't lie to us. Anyway, we absolutely love the build-up and chemistry between Maverick and Charlie, and honestly, seeing the two of them together gives us the feels. Don't judge us. And come on, that soundtrack is unreal. More on that later. Fast forward 30-something years later, and in Top Gun Maverick, we're introduced to the lovely bartender Penelope Benjamin, aka Penny, portrayed by Jennifer Connelly, who still looks fantastic, by the way, although the movie wasn't clear on what actually happened to Charlie. Anyway, it is established at some point the two of them have dated before, and Penny is actually mentioned in the original Top Gun, so subsequently the events of the movie rekindle their romance. However, we believe it's safe to say that the romance story in this movie isn't as prominent as it was in the first movie, and if we're being honest here, we don't think the chemistry between Maverick and Penny was as believable as the romance between Maverick and Charlie. That being said, we're gonna give the love interest round to the original. Winner by a speeding motorcycle is Top Gun.
Round 5, soundtrack.
When you think of the Top Gun movies, you think of the remarkable soundtracks. The soundtrack to the original movie is certainly up there with Purple Rain, Grease, and Judgment Night. Yeah, buddy. We could probably make an entire video on how great the soundtrack is, but the two big ones everyone knows is Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone. Oh man, that hook is so rad, and of course, the guilty pleasure that is Take My Breath Away from Berlin. Take my breath away. Which would go on to win an Oscar and a Golden Globe. Come on, guys, don't pretend you don't love singing along to it.
Take my breath away.
Jay, what the
This is one of those cases where the soundtrack is bigger than the movie. Hell, people who haven't even seen Top Gun know those songs because you hear them everywhere. Fun fact, British metal gods Judas Priest were supposed to have their song Reckless featured on the soundtrack, but wound up declining it. Guitarist KK Downing would go on to say that it may have been the band's biggest regret. With big shoes to fill as far as music is concerned, the sequel would not only bring back some of the songs from the first movie, but also featured an original song from One Republic with I Ain't Worried.
I ain't worried about it.
As well as Lady Gaga's Hold My Hand.
But don't you let go of my hand.
Who also scored the movie along with the great Hans Zimmer. At the time of this recording, Hold My Hand is currently getting a lot of Oscar buzz. Could the Top Gun soundtracks go 2 for 2? As great as both soundtracks are, no matter what your taste of music is, there is no comparison here. The original soundtrack to this day continues to take our breath away. So step into the danger zone with us as the playing field in this face-off is now even. Winner, Top Gun.
Round 6, box office and legacy.
There will be no draws tonight. This last round is for all the marbles as we take a look at the box office and legacy of the two Top Gun films. Although Top Gun had mixed reviews from critics back in 1986, it was a real hit with audiences. Tom Cruise was a well-known actor prior with movies like The Outsiders and Risky Business, but it was Top Gun that put his career into the stratosphere, and to this day, his career has never tapered off. Top Gun would end up raking in a whopping $357 million on a $15 million budget, and there's no denying the influence the movie and the soundtrack has had on our pop culture. Also, who could forget the excitement in the air when Top Gun Maverick was announced a few years back after multiple delays and uncertainty due to the global pandemic? It was certainly a wild ride for Top Gun Maverick prior to its 2022 release. But Paramount stuck to their guns, no pun intended, and waited for a proper theatrical release, which was certainly the right move because Top Gun Maverick soared high with over $1.4 billion worldwide. And in an age where superhero films are usually the billion-dollar winners, none in 2022 even came close to the mark, and the only movie in 2022 that would go on to make more would be Avatar: The Way of the Water. And not only that, the reception for this movie far exceeds the original with a killer 96% on Rotten Tomatoes compared to a 58% on the original. Another factor that stands out with the sequel is Tom Cruise's dedication to film his own stunts at his advanced age, and he even flew the jet in a number of scenes. At the end of the day, we understand that the first film was everything the filmmakers intended it to be, and it really did lay the foundation for Top Gun Maverick to take off. But similar to Empire Strikes Back and Terminator 2, Top Gun Maverick makes a clear case of being superior to the first film on every level. Well, minus the soundtrack. So the winner of this round and this face-off goes to the movie that a lot of people consider the best damn movie of 2022, Top Gun Maverick. But hey, that's just our opinion. Which of these amazing aerial action adventures do you think is better? Top Gun or Top Gun Maverick? Let us know in the comment section, and we look forward to seeing you for the next face-off. Remember, don't attempt to fly these jets at home. Leave that to the professionals, and as always, thanks for watching.